who's that guy that was the old dude who would be like, today on the show we're gonna have with the guy with the glasses and the suspenders. He died recently.
Larry King.
Larry King. This is my Larry King pose.
Today we got Sean Heath.
We got Sean Heath here. So, question for you. What makes you excited about going to a tiki bar? Or learning about a tiki bar?
Tiki bars, especially when you haven't been into one yet, and you see someplace you're visiting. I went to Houston a couple years ago, wandering around the downtown area, and you have bar after bar after bar that look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so you go in, and they're going to have Crown and Cokes, maybe an old-fashioned, Coors Light, Bud Light, and that's it.
Yeah, that's about it.
And then you go into a tiki bar, and you're hit by, the tiki.
Yeah.
The tropical flowers, the hot weather flowers that even just the leaves look really cool.
Yeah.
And a bartender who is actually at least pretending maybe, but seems like they're happy to see you walk in.
How do you find out about new tiki bars? I mean, for you personally, like, how do you know that, like, oh, hey, this new bar is opened up?
Some of it is friends.
Okay.
What I've seen now labeled and adopted, like the Tiki Ohana.
Mm-hmm.
You see someone say, "Hey, I'm going out to Portland. What's a great bar to be there?" And I went to Portland a few years ago with a friend of mine, and we had to go to Trader Vic's before it disappeared.
Oh, Trader Vic's in Portland.
Yeah, Trader Vic's in Portland. And the Alibi. Yeah.
Old school.
And there's one more over there.
Holly Pele.
Holly Pele. And that's how I learned about him. I'm like, oh, I want to go to Holly Pele, but you go with friends.
Here's a tale of two tiki bars for you. So I live here in Seattle, and we don't have much when it comes to tiki. We really don't. So I'm always searching online, Tiki Seattle, Google Maps, and just see if anything comes up. And this is a couple of years ago. There's a tiki bar in Edmonds. And Edmonds is a city that's north of Seattle. Mm-hmm. Tacky Tiki Bar, I think, or something like that. I'm like, I can't believe it. There's a tiki bar in Edmonds. I got to go check it out, right? And then I go, and it's like a beach bar. They got tiki drinks there, but they come with diabetes, Yeah. I drink, it's like you're better off just drinking Corona. It's just a beach bar, and a bad one at that. I mean, it's okay. And then I heard, then a couple months later, like, oh, there's this tiki bar in Tacoma called Tacoma Cabana. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'll go check this out. And then when I finally went in there, there's Jason Alexander standing behind the bar. And here's this dude. He's kind of a big guy.
Yeah.
You could tell he's working out. Wearing a fez.
and he tiki somewhere.
And he's literally like making drinks where he's using like an eyedropper. And I'm like, well, this guy must know what he's talking about. And goddamn, I was right. And you can tell that he was passionate about what he's doing. If you look behind the bar, it was I don't even know how many different bottles of rum he had. And I'm like, okay, this place is legit. Yeah. And what gets me excited about a tiki bar is, like, again, we're the social media. You can't go. I mean, you can't really go on much except for like pictures.
Right.
But there's certain tiki bars where like I'll never forget Tiki Cat, which was in Kansas City. New tiki bars opening up in Kansas City, and I'm like, Kansas City. That's a fault. No disrespect to anyone from Kansas City, but it's like, it's not a destination city for most. But then all of a sudden I see pictures of this
Unless
bar.
you want barbecue.
No, the barbecue is good. I remember seeing pictures of Tiki Cat, and I'm like, oh my God, that place looks amazing. That place, like, it was a bamboo band build out, and I'm like, and immediately I'm kind of like looking at, and I'm like going on the orbits and like looking at flights how much does it cost to fly to Kansas City? And a lot, for me, it's decor. The main thing that I like about tiki bars is the decor.
It's the first draw. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
it is. And
when
looking at photos, if they do a great job of making the bar feel like that escape,
Yeah.
you want to go check it out. You want to go see what's going on there, and hopefully the rest of the experience is fantastic.
Like when I went to the Mai Kai in Fort Lauderdale. The thing that I miss the most about like some of the older tiki bars is that when the buildings were their own structures,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the A-frame. There was like the Kahiki that was in Ohio, or it's like that was that building.
Yeah.
That's what this place was made for, and it's kind of like the Mai Kai, right? That's giant tiki hut thing. And then you gotta, but the thing is, it's like, on the flip side, is like, well, Max's South Seas opened up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Awesome tiki bar. Big tiki palace.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible build out. Probably, again, immediately has gone to like one of my favorite tiki bars there is. But it's in a building. Like the building is just kind of like, outside it just sort of looks like a building that would be in a city.
Which it's basically all anything is anymore.
Yeah, but when I see, like when I got like the Book of Tiki and Tiki Pop from St. Kirsten, and I'm like looking at all these old, well, they're more restaurants than anything, more tiki bar, tiki restaurant kind of places, fully elaborate, waterfalls, you're walking over a bridge, there's like a river going through it. I just sit there and I look at these pictures and I'm like amazed I'm like, I gotta go check that out. I want to go see that.
Like you said, that's definitely the first step when I'm coming into a place, and I will look for wherever I'm at. Just, is there something that's calling itself a tiki bar?
Yeah.
And I'll want to go check it out.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go see. Are they making the drinks the way I think a drink should be made? Is it when I come in? Does it feel welcoming? Am I going to hear stories from other people about the amazing experience they had at that bar?
Has this ever happened to you, Sean, where you would go to a tiki bar, right? And you walk in and you're kind of like, oh, all right, this is all right. This is okay. This is cool. And then you get the drink and you're like, oh, wow. This drink's amazing. I love this place. That's how it was for me with Tacoma Cabana. Because I'll be honest, the build out at that point in time was kind of basic. They were just starting out, but it was the drinks that made me be like, oh, yeah.
Well, the Cabana is what taught me what a really good tiki drink could taste like. I'd had call it the Royal Hawaiian version of the Mai Tai, because when you go to Hawaii, and I'd been to Maui a bunch of times, everywhere you go and they say, hey, we've got Mai Tais.
Yeah,
that's what they're serving. It's not the Vicks version, and it's a fine drink. It's perfectly good for if someone's giving you a free drink. I'm not going to turn it down.
It's perfectly good for a free drink if someone's giving it.
But
you said it, not me.
I walked into the Cabana and ordered a Mai Tai, and I got handed this thing that looked nothing like I'd ever seen before. And the first drink of it was like, what have I been doing? Why is this not a Mai Tai? I spent a year and a half going to places and that said they had Mai Tais and saying, well, what's your version of Mai Tai? What's your version of Mai Tai? That language that can drive people insane. Oh, that's not a real Mai Tai. And eventually you realize that, this is a good drink. This is an amazing drink. This is also a good drink. And I'll just call it a Royal Hawaiian.
Yeah, the first tiki bar I went to was Hula Hula, which was in Seattle. It was in Lower Gwinnett. And I loved the build out. The building out, I thought the build out was great. But I remember they had like a Mai Tai on the menu, the zombie on the menu, and I don't even know what the hell those were. They were not. But the main thing that I liked was that they got you drunk.
Yeah.
And I was more about the idea of like, well, back then they'd actually serve the drinks in tiki mugs, and there'd be stuff hanging off. I'm like, this is so cool. Yeah. And then Trader Vic's opened up in Bellevue, which is right across Lake Washington from here. It's no longer there. Trader Vic's only was there for like 2 years.
I know they had a expansion and then contracted really quickly.
Yeah, it did. And I remember I'd go there for happy hour, late night happy hour with my girlfriend at the time, and they'd have like $4 Mai Tais. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because it was more of a 44, but it was kind of like, for lack of a better word, I would think is like kind of generic. Because I definitely think they were using some kind of a mixer.
They have that official Trader Vic's mix.
Yeah, and then rum, and then there's your Mai Tai, as opposed to making a 44 from scratch. And I remember liking that drink. I thought it was really, really good. But the game changer for me is I had some friends that took me to Thatch, which is now Holly Paley. And that was like, when walking in there, I'm like, this is it. This is a tiki bar. Because it was smaller.
Yeah.
Because to me, Trader Vic's, love Trader Vic's, but it's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant.
It always was a restaurant. And to me, it just felt like, okay, well, this is like a restaurant. This is obviously a chain. Holly, I mean...
It's intimate. You get into the Holly Pele, and you have there 3 tikis staring at you, and it's so intimate and so much fun because my ideal bar, period, is someplace where I can get to know the people around me.
Yep.
My best experience at the Cabana, drinks aside, was sitting at the bar and getting to know other people who love tiki that I'd never met before, but willing to spend 2 hours talking to me about their lives and everything else. Because once you're there, you're going to be treated like family.
Yeah.
By guests, by staff, by everyone.
Is there any tiki bars that you haven't been to that you saw, that you know of, that you're like, oh, I want to go check that out?
San Diego. There's several that I keep hearing about, and San Diego's on my list of places to go visit. The last time I went, I was not aware of tiki culture. So I visited an Italian restaurant and
fair enough.
had a really great dinner, but it wasn't... I'm now going, well, why didn't I know about this place then? I would have 100% wanted to visit that place, and I'm terribly sorry. You know the name of the tiki bar?
False Idol.
Yeah, there we go.
There's False Idol, the Grass Skirt, and then there's Bali High.
Yeah, so False Idol and Bali High have entered my top 10 list of places to go, and San Diego as a whole, just to go.
False Idol is another example. I remember seeing pictures of the bar before I actually went there, and it was a wall of Bosco masks, and then like the ceiling is just all like fishing float balls, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go there, you know.
And for me, it's, the pictures are great. It's hearing the stories of people that I met who say, this is what happened to me at this place, and it was such a great experience, and I want to go experience that.
Yeah.
The Tacoma Cabana, when it first opened, my friend got there at the soft opening, just walked in accidentally, and Jason's like, hey, come on in, have a drink, come enjoy and meet us. And I heard about that, and I'm like, well, I've got to get down to the Cabana. I've got to see what this place is like. Yeah. And the Cabana and now the Reef have been that way forever, of within bounds of what the rules are. Come on in, come talk to us, come hang out.
And I've always said this, it's like when a tiki bar experiences, there's a couple different factors that go into play. And for me, it's the core. Mm-hmm. Music, 100%. Yeah. Music, drinks, and the service. Or people, the vibe. Yeah. And it all comes down to like, maybe you could lack on certain things and excel in others, but if you just get to a point where like it just doesn't happen, and then you don't have a very good tiki bar. Right. But I've gone to so many tiki bars where like I can go in and pretty quickly I can be like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a good experience. Or I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do this is a one and done kind of place. And I will say this, like pretty much mostly every tiki bar that I've found out or knew about that got me excited to want to go check it out was great. Yeah. And it's some of the reasons why I started to do my road trip across America, because I remember like I'd heard about like Psycho Susie's in Minneapolis, the Inferno Room in Indianapolis, there was Tiki Cat in Kansas City, there was the Sip and Dip, which is in Great Falls, Montana, and I was like, oh man, I want to go check out all these places. I want to go to all these different bars, and my expectations have always been fulfilled. What is paramount for you Is it the cocktails? Is it the environment? Is it the service?
Cocktails are important. Environment's important. Service is ultimate.
Service is ultimate.
Yeah, if I feel like I've walked into a place where all you're seen as is the money that's going to come in.
Yeah.
And you can tell. You can tell when the person behind the bar doesn't really care that you're there.
Yep.
They might care about the cocktail they make. That might, and I've had really good drinks at places that I didn't ever want to visit again because I got 2 seconds of time. I asked a question and they felt like my question was an imposition on what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have questions. I love Tiki. I don't know nearly enough about it to not want to ask other people what they think, what their opinions are. You know, what is, you know, you're here making the drink. What do you love about doing it? I want to know those things. And if I feel like I'm an imposition, that service piece of it, I'm not going to go back.
No, there's been places where I've gone where it's sort of like you can get the feeling of like the person serving the drinks. It's like you're probably going to be gone in like 3 months. Yeah, you're going to be moving on to something else. Well, the cool thing about the Devil's Reef is like you go in, it's like, hey, there's Jason, there's Gamma, you know, there's Robin.
Yeah.
You know, you can see the same people. They're almost like family, and that really helps a lot.
And all of them, even if they don't necessarily remember you the first time, they're going to come up to you and talk to you and be happy to see you. And take a little bit of time and say, oh, is that what you're interested in? Well, I'll try this.
Yeah.
Or, no, I remember you came in a few other times. I'm really glad to see you back. And the best tiki bars have done that for me. I'm really glad you're here now, and I'll be happy when you come back next time.
But everyone out there, I want to hear what you have to say in the comment section below. What makes you excited about a tiki bar? I'd like to hear what you have to say. So, Sean, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out in my bedroom. But let's go back out into my living room and drink some more cocktails.
Sure. Click that like and subscribe. Click that like and subscribe.
Yeah, smash that notification bell. Has that ever worked? Where someone's just like watching a video and the guy's like, smash that subscribe button. And the guy's like, oh, I guess I better do that because he told me to say smash it. Do you ever go to one of those sushi restaurants where they make a point to have every person, all the employees say hello or whatever they say?
Yes.
And you can say like, and you can tell like how, like, ¿Dónde esté? It's like, don't even bother. Just, I'm here. I'm going to eat some sushi.
And it can be the first sign that you're not in a real tiki bar is you get the mechanical greeting versus someone who's excited to see someone come in.
How many in your party? Okay. Or if the bartender, they do this, they don't even talk, they just go. And
which has its place, but it's not what makes me excited when I go into a bar.
Yeah, that's Brooklyn, New York. Want to support the Tiki with Ray show and look cool doing it at the same time? Then head over to tikiwithray.com and buy yourself a Tiki with Ray shirt. They're only $20. Tony Canapa did the design, and they're screen printed in America.